Right now we're in the process of, we've upgraded 3 floors of TC to voice over IP service. When Studebaker East comes online next month, it will also be voice over IP. And we currently have 53 of the SIP phones deployed on campus, and around 125 of the multi-button H.323 phones deployed. As John mentioned, you see the cable coming in from the outside. That is an example of our OSP cable. Outside cable connects this building to other buildings on campus. You'll notice that great big rack with all those connectors in the front of it. Well, that's lightning protection. What that does is every pair of copper wires that comes in through that outside plant cable is connected to a fuse similar to this. What that does is, in the event of a lightning strike, any electricity that comes through that cable is going to pop that fuse before it makes its way into your telephone equipment. So as a general rule, when you have cable that goes through the ground, you want to have lightning protection on either end of that copper cable, so that in the event of a lightning strike, power doesn't go, that either doesn't go and fry your phone or go back into the telephone system and fry cards or anything like that. Trunking on campus. Trunking refers to connections to the public switch telephone network, or the PSTN, and all of our trunking right now that we use is PRI T1 service. We use PRI T1s for outbound local, inbound DID, which is direct inward dialing, the ability to dial 285 and then a 4-digit number and be directed to a telephone instead of having to go to one centralized place and having that person direct you to the correct call. We have connections for outbound long distance, we have outbound toll-free, inbound toll-free, and the interface for all the T1s coming into this room are in that cabinet there on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side next to where Aaron was standing. And this is the smart jack, or basically the point of demarcation, which is the end of the telephone network and the beginning of our responsibility. So until it gets to a plug on the side that we plug into, it's AT&T's responsibility to make sure that that T1 connection works to that. Once we want to extend it into our phone system, it's basically just a piece of shielded, it looks like a patch cord basically, that extends all the way across and then terminates in the back of a T1 card that's in the telephone system. A few notes about some auxiliary services before I let you all go. These 3 servers here are the voicemail system on campus. Years ago, the voicemail system was a cabinet about 1.5 times the size of one of those cabinets that you see there. Actually, it was 2 of those. And it used to reside back on that big platform that you see over there. Well, now, all that's been condensed to these 3 servers right there. You have one server that's called a message store server, or an MSS. That is this server right here. That's where the voicemail messages are actually stored. This is where your greetings are stored, as well as the primary administrative interface that we use to build mailboxes and to delete mailboxes. These 2 servers are called message application servers, or MAS. And these serve as an interface between the telephone system and the message store. Basically, when your phone call is directed to the voicemail system, these 2 servers function as the interface and allow you to access options, menus that are recorded on campus that people hear are stored inside of here. And each one of these servers is connected to the telephone system with two E1 connections, not T1s like what you're used to, but E1s. And why are we using E1s? Well, a T1 is 24 channels, and E1 is 30. So it basically gives you more of a, access to more channels through you get 60 instead of 48. So these are actually connected to the telephone system, and that's what basically relays the voice back and forth between the voicemail system and what you hear.
When you guys phase the change over to those, is that when we got the ability to have an email message that says, hey, you have a phone call?
Yeah, when
Okay.
we brought that system online, that allowed us to bring a fourth server that's located in that cabinet. It's a web client, and basically what it does is it allows you to use your browser to check your voicemail messages. So you're no longer tied to having to use your telephone. You can actually get an email from the system that says that you have a new voicemail message, and it tells you the caller ID of the phone that left the message, and then you can use your computer across the internet or on campus to log in and actually have those messages played through your computer. A couple of other auxiliary services that we have. CDR is called data recording, and basically what it is it's a record for every long distance call that's made on campus. The reason being is we associate the cost of that call with the department that's responsible for paying for it. That way, Unified Communications doesn't have to pay this great big bill for long distance. It's actually the department that needs to be, responsible for that call is actually making that. And there's a unit in that cabinet right there that's called a Omnitronics Teleboss. And basically what it does is the telephone system streams that data record to that Teleboss. That Teleboss stores it as a single line of text, and basically it has the date and time the call was made, how long it lasted, the number that was dialed, the phone number that dialed the call, and it collects these records, and every 5 minutes it does an SSH, FTP push to a server we have that we use in the cloud, and that server takes that record and then it rates it into a system that we have so that at the end of every month we can process billing and bill those departments for those calls. We also have a Red Sky server that's located in this cabinet here, and basically what Red Sky does is anytime you dial 911 on campus, the police dispatcher at the university police office gets a screen pop on their computer that shows them the building, floor, room, and name of the phone that made that call. That way, if the person on the other end is having an emergency and they can't respond, the police know the exact location of that telephone. And the Red Sky server basically has a database of every location of every telephone on campus so that it can present that screen pop to the dispatcher. And then finally, I want to just kind of touch on the future of unified communications. We are in the process of determining what the future platform is going to be. We want to be able to offer a unified communications type of service to where instant messaging, enhanced mobile, being able to use my smartphone as opposed to my desk phone to take all of my campus calls. Being able to do presence so that people can tell, am I in the office, am I on the phone, without having to use my telephone, a smartphone or a soft client on my laptop. So maybe I don't want to be tied to my desk, I'd rather have everything on my laptop. We're in the process of setting up some pilots with Avaya and Cisco and Microsoft to test their products and see who has the best platform for the university going forward. And an example of that is you'll see that last phone that I haven't talked about with the Ball State logo on it. This is an example of a phone off of the Cisco Call Manager. system that we're demoing, and it has integrated video into it. And we have one of these phones set up here and one on that desk back there that you can play with. Each phone has a button on it. Each phone has a small camera on it, and you can touch the button for the other phone and it'll dial. Anybody on the other end can answer it, and you can actually see each other, two-way through video, which is, in our opinion, is pretty cool. So it's just an example of, some of the things that we're looking at. So, yes?
So a lot of stuff on campus has gone to the cloud. Are you all thinking that you might do communication as a service at all, or you think you're going to keep it?
We have had presentations with AT&T on that type of scenario. It's just how much do you put into the cloud, especially when you're talking about your voice system, because if all of your equipment resides in the cloud, it's kind of out of your control at that point. And that's one of the big questions is how much control are you willing to put into someone else's hands, basically. I know email is in the cloud now. There are some some functions like Microsoft, their link system, internally it's in the cloud, but externally you have to have equipment located here. So, it's something that we are looking at. It's just, how much